The 2025 Mini Cooper JCW gained some muscle. It looks sharper than ever before, but it's also more expensive than ever before. So can this new car still compete in the spicy sports car segment against cars like the Civic Si, Elantra N, and the new VW Golf GTI? Let's go for a drive and find out. Power comes from a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, and while the power remains the same as the previous generation, it is up on torque. Also, the peak torque figure comes in at just 1500 RPMs, so this car is punchy off the line. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour takes 6.1 seconds according to Mini. In the real world, you can probably get it a little bit better than that, but of course it all depends on how well the tires transfer the power to the road. This car unfortunately does not have a limited slip differential, and instead it relies on the brakes to mimic the effect of a limited slip differential, which isn't exactly the same as actually having one. So when you put your foot down coming out of a corner and all that torque kicks in, you do feel some torque steer. That is the steering wheel fighting against you and trying to go in different ways instead of the way that you want it to go. It's not horrible by any means, but it is something that you will feel. But even though it does have some torque steer, it is very manageable, and this car still feels very light and nimble. As I said at the start of the video, it is heavier than before. It's about 1.4 tons now, but because of the quick steering and its small footprint, it feels very agile. And it's also a relief driving a small car. Every other car on sale has just gotten bigger and bigger over the generations. Yes, this one too, a little bit, but not by the same extent as the Honda Civic, for example, or the Hyundai Elantra. Those cars are very big compared to this. So around corners, this Mini JCW still retains its go-kart driving demeanor. It has lots and lots of grip, more than enough on public roads for you to have some fun and possibly get into trouble with the 5.0. Sadly, the engine doesn't really provide that much excitement in terms of audible noise, because a lot of the noise that you hear in this cabin in the go-kart mode is fake. It is enhanced by the stereo system, and it even pumps in fake pops and bangs every time you lift your foot off the throttle pedal. You hear it from the back speakers. On the outside, you don't hear these pops and bangs because it doesn't produce them. And another moment of sadness is that this Mini Cooper JCW is no longer available with a manual transmission. At least for now. Maybe in the future, if enough people write to Mini and ask them for a manual transmission, maybe they might change their mind, but for now, it's only available with a 7-speed DCT. In everyday driving situations, the dual clutch transmission allows the Mini JCW to set off from a stop smoothly, and it changes gears without any jerkiness. In the go-kart mode, the gear changes are much more ferocious. You can feel each one as you pull on the paddle shifters. There is a slight delay in the pedals, but it's not that bad. One big change for this 2025 JCW are the smaller brake calipers. The previous generation had eye-catching 4-piston fixed red brake calipers, while this one has to make do with single-piston floating calipers. Why the change? Most likely it's cost. It's hard to tell a difference though when it comes to the stopping force, which is a good thing. Perhaps if I have driven the previous generation back to back with this new one, there might be a subtle difference in the feel. But this new braking setup feels firm and it has enough stopping power. To some, the brake pedal may be a tad on the sensitive side if you have a heavy foot. And finally, being a small hot hatch, the 2025 Mini Cooper JCW can achieve good fuel economy numbers. On highways, it's rated for 6.4 liters per 100 kilometers, and in a city, it's rated for 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers. During my time with the car, I averaged 8.7 liters per 100 kilometers. With its short wheelbase and sporty adaptive dampers, the ride of the 2025 Mini Cooper JCW is stiff. It's not as rough as the ride of the BMW M2, but it's right up there. You can feel every bump, every pebble, every change in the asphalt, and you'll most certainly want to swerve around manhole covers. The seats help mitigate the stiff ride a little bit, but on longer road trips, this can become a tiring hot hatch to drive. In the front seats, space is plentiful even if you are a taller individual. At 6'4", I had no issues with legroom nor headroom. What I did notice is that the top of the windshield, where it met the roof, obscured the traffic lights if I was the first one at the line. Otherwise, visibility around the car is good. In the back seats, however, it is a completely different story. They are still extremely tight for adults. Perhaps adults under 5'10" that are sitting behind another adult of that height or less may be able to squeeze in those back seats, but realistically, they're meant for little kids. One thing that irks me about this interior though is the lack of a tachometer in a sports car. You would expect to see one. And while technically this car does have it, it's really tiny, both in the head-up display and also on the main infotainment touchscreen. In a sports car such as this, you expect to see a big tachometer with a very distinct red line, but the most prominent feature in the HUD is the speedometer, not the tachometer. So it can make for some tricky upshifts whenever you're using the paddle shifters because it's really tiny in the head-up display and you have to take your eyes off the road in order to see it on the main infotainment touchscreen. In the trunk, the 2025 Mini Cooper JCW has 252 liters of cargo space behind the rear seats. Fold them down and cargo capacity increases to 974 liters. There is a small compartment underneath the trunk floor that is big enough to fit a small backpack or two, but you will not find a spare wheel in this new Mini. The 2025 Mini Cooper JCW now starts at $51,990 Canadian. That is an increase of $3,400 Canadian over the previous year. This 2025 model does not have many optional features on it, so it comes as a fully loaded vehicle. The biggest change to this new Mini Cooper in terms of convenience features is the new 9.4-inch circular touchscreen and infotainment system. It is no longer a circular trim piece with an awkward and tiny rectangular touchscreen in the middle. This infotainment system looks great with snazzy new graphics and a new menu layout. It unfortunately incorporates the climate controls along with the speed and other key driver information, as there is no more driver instrumentation just behind the steering wheel. However, this new infotainment system allows for a slight degree of customization by way of a favorites menu. You can select your most commonly used apps and have them displayed with just a swipe up from the bottom of the screen. Additionally, this system supports wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto, but I did have a bit of a difficult time connecting my Android phone to make Android Auto function. Bluetooth though worked just fine. The infotainment also changes designs depending on the drive mode, or as Mini calls them, experiences. Go-Kart, Core, and Eco actually change the driving dynamics of the car, but the others only change the screen graphics. Other convenience gadgets on the 2025 Mini Cooper JCW include a dual-pane sunroof, the front portion does open, heated front seats and a heated steering wheel, synthetic leather upholstery, a massage function for the driver's seat, power and memory front seats, surround view cameras, a head-up display, a wireless phone charging pad, a Harman Kardon sound system, and keyless entry and start. Finally, the exterior styling has been simplified over the previous generation. It has a smooth side profile and no more hood scoop, but this JCW adds large air intakes to the edges of the front bumper compared to the Cooper S. The circular headlights remain with round or horizontal LED daytime running lights. In the back, the Union Jack taillights remain, but they've been given a Cyberpunk 2077 look. You can choose to change the design of the taillights when the car is parked with the side markers turned on. And of course, you can't miss that centrally mounted exhaust pipe, which looks really cool. But there is a second exhaust pipe hidden behind the bumper. The 2025 Cooper is also available with different colored roof and exterior mirrors. So although the new Mini Cooper JCW is more expensive and heavier than before, it still is an absolute riot to drive. It's not the most comfortable thing on public roads on a daily commute, but if you're yearning for a classic three-door hot hatch, I think that this is your only option that's left here in North America. Civic is a sedan, Elantra is a sedan, the GTI is only available as a five-door. What else is there? But anyway, if you would like to know more about this Mini Cooper JCW, I have a more detailed written review of it over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up there. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck, or most likely it'll be an SUV next time. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.